Good afternoon. So, UK Games Expo is not far away. Oh, no, I can't hear myself. Hang on a second. So, 11 days, 18 hours, and 50 minutes until it opens. Quite exciting. It's the 20th anniversary event for this. I've been there now, I think, 4 times, 5 times, something like that. Almost at 6, 7. So I'm quite excited for this, I have to say. And I'm really looking forward to seeing a lot of people there again. But yeah, let's just talk about a couple of things that as a role player, this event might hold for me. And for me in particular, doubting my life choices a little bit, but I've done some commitments to volunteering. So I'm going to run lots of games. I'm going to talk about them briefly. But it's going to be 5 games. No, 5 games? Yeah, 5 games I'm running, plus 1 I'm playing. That's 6 times 4 hours. Yeah, over 3 days. But yeah, UK Games Expo is the UK's biggest gaming event. I think that's fair to say. I don't think there's anybody arguing with that one. And they're actually expecting over 70,000 people through the doors. They don't have to be unique people, I have to hasten to add. They're just people who are coming this time around. So it's been running for 20 years. And this time they're going to run in 5 halls, I think it is. So maybe even 6. I think it's 1, 2, 3A, 3B, 4, and 5. So that's 6 halls. 42,000 unique visitors expected. That's a lot of people. So it gets very busy. But there are different sections to this. There's board gaming, there's open gaming, there's cosplay, there are events, there are various other things going on, but also a really, really big role-playing offering. If I remember correctly from what the organizer Millie said, it's 545 rounds of games, and they are relatively cheap. You buy yourself into the event. Typically it's about £8, I think, for a seat at the table, expected to run between 3 and 4 hours, and they prefer if you take 6 players, but most of the stuff I'm running only takes 5. Hi, G-Ref. Hello. So, yeah, as I said, it will be huge. There's also going to be lots of other things. You can buy stuff. You can sell stuff for the bring and buy, for example. But I won't go into all of that. So for me, 5 sessions I'm running. 5 sessions. I'm going to talk briefly through this. Now, this is taking a lot of time for preparation. Yes, I'm running something there, and you're just in the right place if you want to find out what I'm going to run there. So let's have a look at this. So let me put my slightly prepared slideshow on here. Firstly, big event. This is from a couple of years ago. A few of my photo snaps that you can see here. Gets very, very busy. You can buy lots of good merchandise. This is Needhogger Meat Company, for example. Good meat, nice t-shirts. You can go to see Free League. For example, here's a Vaesen lineup from a couple of years ago, which actually just was nominated. I don't think they won it for the best supplement with the mythic Carpathia. So we also have Hexen. Now, Hexen is one of the things I'm going to run. I need to adjust my screen a little bit. Hexen is a German game. Hexen 7033 to give it its full name. And basically it's sort of Baroque, 30 Years War, slightly later, as you can see by the date. But something went wrong during the 30 Years War, and the Hellgate has been opened. And because the Hellgate has been opened, magic and monsters and all that have returned to the world, and you basically have to fight those. You're one of the hunters. It's a pretty cool game. It's very tactical. It's got lots of different moving parts to it, including I had to buy some poker chips here. Whole big box just for action markers and things like that. So I'm looking forward to that. Oh, gosh, this is as heavy as a box set, this thing. These are clay ones, and I'm going to be lugging a fair bit. So if anybody wants to be my roadie, let me know. So that's basically the first game I'm going to run. That's on Friday lunchtime, 2 to 6. I think I'm running this one. And looking forward to it. I have to still translate all the materials. I haven't done that. They're all in German, the character sheets and so on. So it's going to be a fair bit of work, that one, I'm afraid. But hey, it's always for the love of the game, right? The next thing I'm going to run, here's another Hexen look at all the materials you get with it. Next one is going to be this event, All Hands on Deck. Now that runs in the evening, Friday evening, and late into the night until midnight. Are going to be 12 tables of 5 players each. So 60 people playing at the same time as the crew of a big ship. For me, even though the author said, no, that's not right, it had a bit of an Among Us vibe to it. But basically, yeah, we're going to be running that in a couple of acts. And I don't want to spoil it too much, but it's definitely going to be an event. Last time I was there, I ran the Dragonbane event, which is I'm going to come to next as well. And that was a hoot. That was a really, really nice event to do. Alien, of course, is a little bit different to Dragonbane. And all I'm going to say is I think we are going to hear the bell ring a fair number of times. Hint, hint. What it rings for, you will have to find out when you get there. So if you're actually one of the players there, drop us a line. Maybe I'm going to end up at my table, no idea. I might also be the roaming xenomorph if somebody gives me a mask. It's going to be second edition or evolved edition, to give it its proper name, which I still have to learn a little bit. I've run the first one. I haven't run the second one. So I still need to talk about that a little bit or learn about that. For example, the panic rolls are much more streamlined. It's much more sensible in my sense. So you don't get these cascading panic events as quickly as you used to do in the first one. So once that is done, that will be basically Friday midnight that I'm finishing. Then it's off to bed, or maybe a couple of drinks at the bar if they're still open. And then it's going to be on the next day. I start with the One Ring, and this is the starter set, the second starter set, which is where did I put it? At this moment, normally they say it's behind you. There, it is behind me. This one here, yeah, I've run it before. I ran it at school, actually, at an event for some other kids. We took about 4 hours to get through it. That's sort of ideal, but I might have to rush it a little bit depending on how familiar the players are. Now, I have tweaked the pre-gens a little bit. That was a fair bit of work because they seemed a bit feeble and they didn't all have the right skills for the adventure. So I remapped that a little bit. Relearned the rules. I had to make some handouts, some character sheets, trim them down to size. One of the handouts that's actually missing is what they call a journey sheet. So when you're in the One Ring, when you go on an overland trip, you basically start planning on a little hex map, what it is. And there's a map, but the map is so dark in the book, it's not in the handout, that if you just photocopy, it just looks a mess. It looks gray on gray. So I had to fiddle about with the settings a bit, bleach it out a bit, make it black and white essentially, and then paste it onto the hex grid. And yeah, that was my morning today, preparing all those bits. Bit further away, but in December, by the way, NEC in Birmingham, they have got the Lord of the Rings in concert as well. So if you're interested in that, check it out. If you're local, it's the BP Pulse Live Arena, I think it's called. So that's something for the fans. Definitely top tip there. So One Ring, I'm looking forward to that one. It's the starter kit, so it's slightly abbreviated, slightly lighter rules, but yeah, I still have to get my head around it again. I have to say, if you end up on my table, or just out of interest, I'm not an expert for every system I run. Yeah, so it might be that I have to resort to rules because I don't know all the rulings because I don't know all the rules. But that's just my style. If you don't like it, tough luck. So after that, so that will be my Saturday morning game. Then Saturday afternoon, we get to Dragonbane. We're going to run this tournament adventure called the Crypt of the Golden Star. I think it's about 60 players again. I'm not quite sure. We have the scenario now from Andreas Lindström, and promises to be really, really good fun again, as usual. And Dragonbane, I have run it a fair bit, even here on the stream with my attempt at running Icewind Dale in Dragonbane. But I think, again, I need to read the rules. And it's the same pre-gens as usual, so at least I know the pre-gens and what they can do and what they can't do. So that's useful. So that's Dragonbane, another big event. Then that's in the afternoon, the Friday afternoon. By the way, this is from the last Dragonbane event I was there for. So this was my group. There were 4 of them and 2 of them, basically friends. And then we had these huge big maps, and you can see how it was set up in a big hall. Every single table here was playing the same scenario at the same time. Really cool. About 2 hours it was. The Sinking Tower at the time. So yeah, really good fun. Then in the evening, I can actually sit down and play a game. And I'm going to be playing Star Trek Adventure 2nd Edition. And run by no other than How to Be a Great GM guy, Guy Sklanders. But he definitely has the voice for it. He definitely has the personality for it. So I'm really chuffed that I actually got a ticket at his table. There's, I think it's a 3-parter, and I'm only there for the second part. But yeah, busy schedule. So that's my chilling at Saturday evening from 8 to midnight. So I'll be falling into bed probably with no voice after that. So then the next bit is going to be back to Hexen, but this time Hexen set in Britain. They have a scenario or a campaign box set in Britain, which is sort of separated, drifted away from Europe. It cannot be easily reached anymore. There's an expedition sent out to try and find it, and basically you're part of this expedition and you end up in a shipwreck on a beach. You don't know what happens. You forgot everything. You have to rediscover it again. So I'm trying to make a scenario from that. I've got a few ideas. I will have to tweak the box set a little bit, like the official campaign opening, to make it more convention suitable. But I think that's going to work quite nicely. So that's going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, Sunday morning. It's going to be Sunday morning, this one. And then, a couple of other things. This is what it looks like. This is sort of the table you could have been setting up. This is 2 years ago, I think. I'm on Dreams in Machine. There's a big screen there that tells you which games are on and who's checked in and who hasn't checked in. So it's run really, really nicely, and they are ever so supportive there. And I think it's a really good place to actually dip your toe into running convention games if you haven't tried it yet. Yeah, because there's a lot of support available here. So that's just a few impressions here. You can also buy tea, character class tea, which was quite fun. And this is one of the big halls. So you can see how busy it can get. Lots of games to try out. Top tips. I'm coming to some top tips for you. So Bring It By, I mentioned it very briefly. That's going to be in Hall 5 this year. Now, Bring It By, the idea is you can bring your games that you want to sell. You can put them on the shelves with your price tags on. You can basically check them in. They look after anybody who comes along and wants to buy something, and then in the end you can collect your money minus a cut that goes to UKGE. However, whenever I've been, the queues were massive to actually in the morning drop off your stuff and then later on to go in and buy stuff. So I'm, again, this year definitely far too busy to go and try that. But I know that people have found some real bargains there. So if you're on the bargain hunt or you have time and you want to get rid of some of your games, check out the Bring and Buy stuff. Definitely a good idea. You can actually preload your items from home with the app apparently, so the whole check-in process is a bit quicker. There will be live entertainment on the main stage. Don't think I've got a picture of that, do I? No, not yet. If you want to go to any of those shows and events, and can be like creators do an actual play, or it could be something entirely different, or talk from publishers. Some of them are ticketed. Again, make sure that you do that first. A couple of things on food and logistics. There's a Resorts World not far, short walk away with lots of restaurants and stuff. There are some eateries here in the NEC, often very busy and not the cheapest. Over at the Hilton, if you want to go there, there's the food court with the food vans. That's really good. That's typically where I will go because they've got some really good food there. And apart from that, you get some fresh air from the short walk across. And speaking of walking, make sure you wear proper, decent shoes. Yeah, that's important. So, lastly, I guess, if you are coming to the UK Games Expo and you want to say hello, do by all means grab me. If you see me, say hello somewhere. It's always cool to meet somebody who's at the other end of the screen here, because I don't see you normally, do I? So do come and say hello. I'm going to spend most of my time in the Hilton, as you've seen. So I'm going to be there in one of the games rooms. But Friday morning and Sunday afternoon, the shoulders basically, I'm going to be in the hall and walk around, probably with my son as well. And yeah, do come and say hello. It would be really cool to see you. And I'm trying to catch up with a few people as well, maybe in the evening at the bar after midnight. Didn't plan that through, did I? Tough luck. Right. So any other questions? If you, as a role player coming to this place, I mean, there are places you can go to just talk to the creators, which is really cool. So, for example, you can go to Crosspath Gaming and find out about Djachroum, or some of the other games. They've got a little stall there. Free League have got their stalls there. Of course, definitely go and check that out. Oh, there's something else I wanted to mention. And go and see the people at the Effects Publishing. Here in the bottom right, you see a table that I was playing at a couple of years ago. Tales of the Old West we were playing. And the Judges Awards have just come out. And look what got the best role-playing game of them all, Tales of the Old West, which you have seen here on my channel being played, and interviews I've got here with GMs, with creators. So if you want to find out more about that game, definitely go and see them. I think their stall number is 3601. So hall 3, row 6, and then 01 right in the corner. If you want to pick up that game, it's a really cool game. Yeah, and I'm sure they still have the normal edition. Looks like this. Yeah, see that there on the same as the picture. And they probably still have a few of the limited edition cloth-bound ones as well. So go and check them out. Top tip. They might even do you a bundle deal. You never know. Right. Have I forgotten something? Have you got any questions for me? Yeah? I mentioned the behind-the-scenes angle. Oh, yeah, as a GM there, you have to be a bit patient. You never know what sort of players you're going to get. Now, some players are very happy-go-lucky. They just say, I'm here to have fun, and I'm just going to go in it. But sometimes you get the eternal rules lawyer. And as I said, I'm not necessarily always the expert. So rules lawyering, I don't think has a place at a con, unless it's a tournament game and you're playing for something big other than fun. And that's not the game I run. So, yeah. But anyway, that's something that I'm going to talk about after if you're interested, how it went. So, closing. Are you coming to the expo? I hope you are. If you are looking forward to checking out particular games or something like that, then do drop me a line or put a comment on, because I definitely need some tips on which games to look for. Yeah, and which of these systems would be of interest for you? I mean, they're all booked out, so I don't think you can still get tickets for them. But which one would you most be interested in hearing some player views after I've played it, for example, because I might interview some of them and just say, have you got a short comment of how the game ran and what did you make of the game? Yeah, and other than that, let me know what you want to do at the UK Games Expo, and I might see you in Birmingham. I think I've talked enough, haven't I? So for now, thank you very much, and I see you around. Bye-bye.